Are you having difficulty positively engaging with a professional? I'm not just talking about on one occasion, I'm talking about consistently. This could be a teacher, social worker, consultant, a SENCo, where their interaction or lack of interaction with you and your child has a negative effect on the people around them, whether that's in the classroom or within the local authority, in terms of supporting your child's progress. My name is Brenda and I'm a parent mentor and a fellow parent. I support parents raising young people with neurodiverse needs, physical needs or medical conditions to navigate the system so that they can feel empowered to advocate for their children's needs. And in this video I want to talk about one of my pet peeves, and that is interacting with professionals that I would consider bad apples. And later in this video I want to discuss how we as parents can stay empowered whilst we're dealing with such destructive situations that involve bad apples. So I guess let's talk about what is meant by a bad apple. A bad apple comes from the proverb, a bad apple spoils the bunch. This is why I want to use this proverb to describe how one professional had a negative impact on the people around and what that meant, because the experience left me asking, why do other professionals around them allow this dysfunctional experience to continue? Aren't schools supposed to be a caring and nurturing environment? And I guess the big question is, how do we stay empowered when we're dealing with such a challenging situation? So recently I was talking with someone that was very known in the community, and I was describing my previous experience of being involved with a bad apple when my son was at school, and how that particular person made it very difficult for things to move forward because they would withhold information. It was very status orientated. It's that, you know, they've had the skills and they've been around for so long, and then if they felt this particular way, it had to be that way and only that way, and everything needed to be referred through that person. But the issues were when that person wasn't actually passing on information because the buck stopped at them. And when issues seemed to manifest, they became about myself as a parent being a problem, or my child themselves. And I also shared how that experience enabled my child to have a limited experience in terms of the friends that he could see, the places and the activities that he could engage in, and also the physical abuse that he experienced when he was at that particular school. They were very selective in what they decided could be done and what couldn't be done. Now, I understand working as a professional that there are targets and there are things that we need to do, but you as parents know when there is a difference. You know when it's an individual rather than the actual system or the process. But what do you do? And this person also shared with me how he was so proud of a relative that worked in a similar position as the one that I was talking about that was impacting my son's progress. And he mentioned how they were very passionate about their job and they loved their job, and they would come home and describe the experiences that they would do, and they'll feel ambitious and enthusiastic to really take their job to the next level, etc. And I wasn't denying that, because that's what's made me think about this particular video, because even though we come across bad apples, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone in that environment is also a bad apple, and therefore that is the fate of your child's experience or progress in that particular setting. Or is it? As mentioned in my experience, when it got bad was when referrals weren't being made, things weren't being escalated, contact with other agencies were non-existent. Where it could get difficult when you have that experience of dealing with a bad apple is where you could start to think that this is just the way it is, this is all there is, and can impact on how you feel empowered to advocate for your child moving forward in terms of the actions that you choose to do or not to do. And when talking with that particular person in the community, it made me think that I might have given an assumption that I feel that that's just the way it is, that all schools are like that all professionals are like that, or that's just the way it is, the current system is set for everyone to fail. And I don't personally believe that that is always true, and I do believe that that is the case for some. So it made me think how many parents out there could be dealing in situations where there are particular bad apples that are making the experience that are bad for everyone else, and also the experience for the other workers working in that particular education setting as well. You might have people that do love their job and that love what they do and that are very skilled, very talented and very qualified, but there's for some reason your child is not accessing that support and that information. And it could be because you are interacting with a bad apple. And I personally know how important it is to stay empowered when you're in that situation, because you don't want that to be a roadblock in terms of your child's progress and their potential. So the question is, how do you stay empowered when you're dealing with a difficult person? And the first thing is, like most things, is staying focused. You don't want to get caught up in the drama. In my particular situation, it was an opportunity for mountains to be made out of molehills. Only talk about what you're there to talk about. Don't make it about the bad apple. And like I said before, you might notice that you've had a positive discussion with a teacher or another professional and it's all gone so well, and you're feeling that, oh, this is really positive. It looks like it's going to lead to something great. Maybe they're going to access some services, or a recommendation has been made, or perhaps a suggestion from a professional with their insight. And then all of a sudden, the bad apple might enter the room and the atmosphere changes, the conversation diverts, or maybe the next time you see that particular person, things change. And you notice that there seems to be such an impact when the involvement of the bad apple happens. I don't want to get it confused with, seeking for something and then there isn't anything available, because you would notice the difference with the communication that comes back to you. It's very clear, it's very transparent. There's no grudges, there's none of that sort of interaction. It flows. There's a difference, and that's where you can feel content in the knowing that, yes, this has been explored and this has been heard. Keep it focused on your child and their progress. Don't fall into that trap. And the second thing, really, in order to stay empowered, I would say realising that it is not okay. Many parents that I work with try to justify reasons why they are experiencing what they are experiencing. Like I mentioned in many of my other videos, there are so many external factors that can add to these assumptions about why things should be the way they are. And that is not a reason for it to be deemed as okay. If your child is not progressing, if they are experiencing difficulty, it's not okay for a particular professional to behave in that way that limits things from moving forward and limits your child from experiencing progress. So to conclude, a bad apple spoils the bunch. Now, whether that's in the system, or whether that's in education, or whether that's in a particular school setting, that is something that only you as a parent can decide, because you are the one that is able to take the power away from that bad apple and make it your own in terms of what you do or what you don't do, what you take action on or what you don't take action on. So why not check out some of my other videos about staying empowered whilst navigating through the system? So stay focused, stay empowered, and keep creating progress. Thank you for listening.